Coming up, a new airplane from Flight Design. We fly the F-2.
And the future is electric for airplanes and cars. We draw the parallels.
Plus, GA pilots helping veterans. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haines and Alyssa Cobb.
2020 may be pretty rotten, but that's not going to stop general aviation from spreading holiday cheer.
That's right, a group of pilots in Colorado banding together with organizations to bring food and toys to veterans in need. The Veterans of Foreign Wars and the Colorado Aviation Business Association coordinated and brought together volunteer pilots for the mission. Flight School Independence Aviation providing 2 crews and this video of the event. Together, the pilots gathered and flew 3 tons of holiday essentials to airports around the state. It's all to provide food and toys for families who are struggling.
Amongst the things that we're sending, it's going to be cans of food. We've got toys.
The goal is just take some Christmas cheer, some toys, some supplies to our veterans in need up in the mountains.
This is the 10th year for the airlift, proof that general aviation serves America. And aviation is a great career choice, too. AOPA has been spreading that message to young people through our High School Aviation STEM program. For 6 years now, AOPA has held a symposium to help teachers and schools build a science, technology, engineering, and math program using AOPA's Aviation STEM curriculum. This year, the symposium was virtual, presented as a live stream sponsored by the U.S. Air Force, and more than 950 people attended the event, hosted by airline pilot and YouTube influencer Swain Martin. And one message that came through loud and clear: this program can change lives.
Hi, I'm Alexis Martin. I'm a junior at Steubenville High School, and I'm in Aerospace Engineering and Aviation program. When I was young, I didn't think I was going to be a pilot at all. Everyone always asked me, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. In 7th grade, Miss Campana had this class after school, and I was like, I'm going to try it out because I like to try stuff like that's different and new, and I stuck with it, and I'm grateful that I did. I put my academics first before anything, because you need academics before you do anything else. Miss C is family. She really blessed my life. Tear up. She's a good woman. I really don't know where I would be if God didn't put her in my life. She is a true blessing. There would be no way I would be able to go throughout this journey without her. I've seen some kids that are like, you're a pilot, and I'm like, yes, like I want to be a pilot, and they're like, I didn't know females could do that, and that's really sad because some kids don't think that, like some females don't think that they could be in this field just because males are in this field. And I've been talking to them like, yes, females can be in this field. The AOPA curriculum has motivated me and driven me to be a private pilot.
The AOPA curriculum is free to school systems nationwide. Some 400 classrooms in 38 states are using it now. You can find more information on our website. Well, what an impact the curriculum and the wonderful teacher has had on her. Great story.
Yeah, there's some really great things coming out of the Aviation STEM program, both for the teachers, who also made some of them getting scholarships to learn to fly, as well as some of the students, and a lot of inspiration going on. It's great to see.
It is.
Well, more concerns over 5G networks interfering with aviation systems. This time, though, it's not Legato and GPS, it's radar altimeters. AOPA and other groups sending a letter to the bipartisan leadership of the House and Senate Transportation Committees. The aviation industry is concerned that the recent FCC rulemaking would allow deployment of 5G networks with frequencies near enough to those used by radar altimeters to cause interference. We'll keep you updated on this issue. And Orlando, Florida wants to be the home of the first vertiport in the United States. A vertiport is basically an airport for urban air mobility vehicles. Local officials are offering German company Lilium significant tax rebates to bring the project to Orlando. The vertiport would be used by battery-powered Lilium jets. The Lilium jet is a piloted eVTOL that uses articulating ducted fans nestled in the wings. Lilium envisions a regional network that could put Tampa, Daytona Beach, and Port St. Lucie within a 30-minute flight. The vertiport would be in Lake Nona, a 17-square-mile planned community just southeast of Orlando International Airport. The facility and the aircraft still need FAA approval.
Well, some encouraging news. The accident rate among experimental amateur-built aircraft continues to decline. The rate is now below the FAA not to exceed goal in fiscal year 2019. The total number of fatal accidents in the experimental category dropped more than 15% from the previous year. The numbers are way down compared to just a few years ago. This data coming from EAA. Well, and a reminder that the AOPA Air Safety Institute's NOAA report is now a live document online. You can pour through a near real-time analysis of aviation accidents. The report is updated monthly, and you can find it on the AOPA Air Safety Institute website.
And speaking of safety, the Boeing 737 MAX is cleared by the FAA to once again take flight. Airlines will have to come up with and submit for approval their safety training protocols for the model, and an airworthiness directive will have to be met. However, FAA Administrator Steve Dixon says he is comfortable with the changes made to the aircraft.
Now, based on all the activities that we've undertaken during the past 20 months and my personal experience flying the aircraft, I can tell you now that I am 100% comfortable with my family flying on it.
You may remember last month, Dixon personally flew the MAX to evaluate the changes Boeing had made. The type had been grounded after 2 crashes that killed hundreds of people. It was a result of a flight control system problem.
Well, in Congress, meanwhile, legislation to change the way the FAA certifies aircraft is moving forward, but slowly. This week, the House approved the Aircraft Certification Reform and Accountability Act, and they sent it over to the Senate. Now, the Senate is working on a different bill to do some similar things, so don't expect anything to change anytime soon. Well, yet another aviation event will be postponed again. This is the DeLand Sport Aviation Showcase in Florida, which was originally planned for earlier this month. Because of the pandemic, the event was first postponed until January 2021. Well, now organizers are postponing the full event until November 2021. But not all is lost for the event this winter. The airport will still hold a one-day fly-in, drive-in event on January 30th to bring airplanes, cars, and food together in the Sunshine State.
And a slight bright spot in a dim year, piston airplane deliveries increasing slightly this quarter. That according to the General Aviation Manufacturers Association's third quarter report. Piston airplanes are up 1.4% from last year. Hey, we'll take it. The rest of the segment's down about 27% though, COVID-19 being blamed for the overall decline. It's bigger and better and packed with the latest technology. AOPA Editor-at-Large Tom Horn shows us the Flight Design F2.
If there's ever been a high-end SLSA, it's the new Flight Design F2. It's a European light plane that's been in the works for 2 years. Now it's available in the United States for $200,000, and a Part 23 certified version is expected in 2021. The F2 has a number of big features, one of which is, well, its bigness. Its wingspan is longer than the earlier CT series LSAs, which remain in production. It's longer too, and has a roomier 53-inch wide cabin and a big baggage compartment. The panel features Garmin's G3X split-screen displays and Garmin's GMC 507 autopilot, complete with a level button. One push and the airplane rights itself from unusual attitudes. The throttle lever does double duty as a brake. Pull it all the way back and you'll slow and stop the airplane. And look at this, panel-mounted AmSafe airbags, like a car. The F2 also has a ballistic recovery parachute. Up front, a 100 horsepower Rotax 912IS pushes the F2 to a max speed of 120 knots, and at 114 knots, recommended cruise, it burns 4.7 gallons per hour. With its 34-gallon fuel capacity, That means trips of up to 5 hours and just over 500 nautical miles are possible. The wings have leading edge cuffs to delay stall onset and a rigid horizontal stabilizer-like center section at the tail. Flight design calls it a beaver tail. The beaver tail prevents extreme nose-high attitudes during power-on stalls. This is all part of flight design's compliance with ASTM stall and spin-resistant requirements. The F2 isn't the only model in F-Series airplanes to come. An electrically powered version, the F2E, should come out in 2022. And a four-seater, the F4, soon thereafter. If Flight Design's 1,900-strong fleet of its CT brand LSAs is any indicator, the F-Series looks to have an ambitious future. Tom Horn, AOPA Live.
You can read more about the F2 in an upcoming edition of AOPA Pilot Magazine. Okay, how many of you shop at Costco? You know, that place where you end up with a bulk package of 6 rump roasts when you only needed one in the first place. Well, now Costco is selling airplanes in bulk, sort of. Now, as part of your Costco membership, you can buy a 1-year Wheels Up Core membership. Wheels Up is the private charter company flying all those blue and white King Airs and a variety of jets. Costco says you can now book a private aircraft as easily as a rideshare or vacation rental. Heck, you can Uber to the airport, Wheels Up to your vacation spot, and then Lyft to your Airbnb. What a life. Wheels Up through Costco is only $17,500 for the first year. And wait, there's more. You can also get a $3,500 Costco Shop card and a $4,000 flight credit. What a deal. So Alyssa, I'm sure Jason wants one of those for Christmas.
Yeah, I'll have to head up the road to Costco there. But yeah, what a life for sure. Well, coming up after the break, new features in a popular EFB.
And the future is electric. We'll be right back.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.
Welcome back. Another successful launch. The SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule successfully carried 4 astronauts to the International Space Station this week. The crew will be on board the space station until spring. Now, this is the second astronaut mission for the SpaceX, but first outside of their test program. Earlier this year, Crew Dragon successfully launched with 2 test pilots for a 2-month stay at the space station. Wow, Tom, they are just really hitting it out of the park now. It seems like they're starting to hit their stride.
Yeah, I hope so. It was really fun to watch it. And of course, Warren and I were down there for the first launch of the Americans from American soil back in May, and that was also very, very thrilling. So it's great to see them move out of the test program and into more of just commercial operations.
Yes.
Well, the only touchscreen autopilot in general aviation is now an option for a bunch of additional models. The Bendix King Aerocruise 230 is a replacement for the KFC 150 and the KFC 200 autopilots. The form-fit replacement uses existing servos, cutting install hassle and cost. It is now an option in more than 35 aircraft models. Find out if it will work for you on the Bendix King website.
Well, something exciting for Garmin Pilot. The EFB adding some graphical tools to depict NOTAMs on the map. Airspace NOTAMs are depicted as a circle or shape and labeled. Now, if they're going to go in place within the next 24 hours, they are displayed in yellow. Restricted areas and danger spots, red. Alerts and warnings are in orange. And Flight Data Center, gray. And other alerts are in purple. The changes are in the version 10.3 release out this week. You can learn more about Garmin Pilot on their website.
We talk all the time about electric propulsion in aviation and what that might mean for aircraft of the future. A lot of that future tech is already being used in the automotive industry. I had a chance to drive a state-of-the-art electric car for about a month to get a closer look at electric propulsion and compare it to what we have in the aviation industry today. Thanks to AOPA's premier partnership with Audi, I've had the chance to drive this all-electric Audi e-tron for the last month or so. And of course, Owning a Bonanza, I can't help but compare and contrast the propulsion system in the all-electric vehicle with what we've got in the Bonanza. You know, unlike a regular car, not a lot going on under the hood here, just an extra charging cable. Not a lot to see here, unlike in the Bonanza where we've got lots of machinations going on with mechanical stuff. And I got to tell you, I'm very impressed with the e-tron, really capable vehicle. So let's take it for a drive. So as you might expect of an Audi, it's a great performer and it loves the road. This road in particular has a lot of turns on it, and it just loves to come out of the turns and accelerate on the country roads out here. You know, it's pretty amazing for a car that weighs almost 3 tons that it accelerates the way it does. 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. It is all-wheel drive, quattro all-wheel drive, as you'd expect on see on a lot of other Audis. But in this case, driven entirely by the motors. The battery will sustain the car for about 225 miles or so, depending on temperature and some other ambient conditions, is about what you're going to get on a normal charge. Now, so you think about that, going on a long trip and you want to go maybe longer than 225 miles or so, what are you going to do? Well, your options are you can either stop somewhere and take a full charge, but that's about 9.5 hours on a typical high voltage home charger that you might have. If you can find one of the really fast charging stations, of which there are not very many, you can, in as little as 30 minutes, get an 80% charge. Now that's the fastest in the class. Tesla can't touch that. So that is one significant difference with the Audi as they take on Tesla and try to make a difference. And also, as you would expect from Audi, there is amazing technology. I mean, it is just awesome what the car does for you. It's got self-park, it's got a head-up display, it's got many creature comforts. Like right now I'm getting a massage on my back. Of course, heated and cooled seats. The air can be ionized if you'd like. You can have different scents brought into the car if you'd like. It's got beautiful internal and external lighting. So of course, as I've been driving this car for about a month as part of the AOPA Audi deal, I've been thinking a lot about propulsion and how it is that this thing is propelled with electricity, and what we're dealing with in aviation as we're looking about trying to bring electricity into general aviation or aviation in general. So we have Buy Aerospace out in Colorado is developing some all-electric airplanes with big batteries in them that can be charged relatively quickly, and so that's coming along nicely. Another alternative, of course, that's been tested over in the UK just recently in a Piper Malibu is hydrogen propulsion. So using hydrogen to generate electricity that then drives electric motors just as if it was a battery-driven system. Then, of course, there's the hybrid options that are also in development where you have a electric motor assisting a gas-burning engine of some sort. So a lot of different options. Feels like the automotive world is ahead of us by quite a bit in the aviation mode, but I think we'll catch up pretty quickly. Meanwhile, of course, I think the e-tron here is a pretty good indication of where we are from a technology standpoint, both from propulsion, but also from just kind of human factors and comfort and technology standpoint from navigation and driver assist. Pretty amazing. It's really quite a nice car. If you drive to the airport, Audi e-tron might be just the vehicle for you. And if you're interested in buying a new Audi, you can get a discount of up to $2,000 with your AOPA membership. Visit aopa.org/Audi to find out more.
The FAA wants to know how rest and fatigue affect drone operators. The agency is launching a new survey of how the remote pilots handle fatigue. The information gathered could be used to implement hours of service regulations in the future. 180 pilots are sought for the survey. Now, the feds are working also to integrate and implement things like drone package delivery and flights over people, as well as beyond visual line of sight operations. Meanwhile, the Government Accountability Office is letting the FAA know the results of a survey about some of their workforce. The GAO looked at the aviation safety workforce, specifically the inspectors and engineers. The goal is to help the FAA assess any competency gaps and to create a training program to make sure these employees stay up on any skills they need. Now, in the past, it was up to local managers to determine what skills were needed and where things could improve. The goal is to set standards for the agency countrywide.
And finally, this note, pilot brains are different. Now that's something your significant other has probably observed, perhaps even commented on. Now there's science, sort of, to prove that yes, pilots think differently. New research by Chinese scientists shows that pilots have, quote, enhanced cognitive flexibility when compared to mere mortals. Mere mortals, those are our words, but you know it's true. The researchers theorized that pilots would have different kinds of interbrain connections because of the cognitive demands placed on us, and that's what they found using MRI scans. Now, they found that pilots have decreased connectivity in the brain network associated with self-control and appraisal of threatening stimuli, and they thought that might enable the network to have more diverse functions. But there is increased resting state connectivity with the brain's autopilot, what's called the default node network. All of this switching seems to mean that pilots are very good at integrating a lot of different stimuli, ignoring the unimportant, and making quick decisions. So hey, we told you so.
Now there's science behind our pilot greatness.
Yeah, let's take advantage of this while we can before anybody else figures it out, all right? Okay, well that's our program for this week. We want to know what you're thinking for this year, so put your big pilot brain to work. Drop us a note. The address is on your screen. You can also tweet to us with the hashtag AOPA Live. We might just read your response on the show next week.
Until then, we are thankful for you joining us. We'll see you next week.
Purchasing your own aircraft is an exciting experience. AOPA Finance simplifies the process, saving you money with lower interest rates and hassle-free loans, so you get into your new aircraft sooner. AOPA Finance, the right approach to buying an aircraft.